Hello, brilliant. Hello, Year 2. Welcome to your next instalment of Fractions in Maths. Excellent job with finding quarter yesterday. A little bit of a recap for you then. Get your maths book open, get your pencil ready. I'd like you to write down the name of each of these fractions. Write down the name of each of these fractions. You could do it in, oh gosh, monkey's on the roof. You could do it in words, or you can do it as a number, or you can do it as both. Pause the video and write the name of A, B, C and D. Okay, some of you might not have been sure what on earth I was talking about, so here is an example. The fraction A shows 1 out of 2. This is a half. If you wrote it in words, it's half. It might be a little bit easier if you think about the German, halb, with that L in there. Okay, that's the first one. If you haven't done B, C and D, pause the video and have a go now. Okay, I'm going to do B, C and D all at the same time. How many parts altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got 1 out of 4, which is quarter. That's the fraction we were looking at yesterday. Quarter. 1 out of 4, quarter, also known as a fourth. On to C. 2 answers for this one. You could have said 2 out of 4, or you can look how similar it is to A and realise that the blue part and the white part are the same, so it's also a half. Half or 2 quarters. And then looking at D. How many equal parts? 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts with 3 coloured in. 3 quarters. 3 quarters. Well done if you got all of those right. If you didn't, think carefully about where you went wrong. Are you getting this bottom number incorrect, or are you making a mistake with the numerator, the top number? We're going to concentrate on D today. Yesterday we looked at 1 quarter. Today we're looking at 3 quarters. Before we do that, I want to revisit a mistake that lots of people made yesterday. You had no problem identifying the quarters, or making quarters, when shapes were split like this, when we've got lovely, nice, neat columns of, we've got a row here with 4 in the row, making nice columns. You had no problem at all. Lots of people doing this, chop, chop. Other people doing this. Well, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. Same over here. Even though it's a bit longer, people going in half, and then chopping that in half, and that in half. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got those 4 equal groups. Lots of people were finding that really, really easy, and then just colouring in one of those groups. The one that people found tricky was the ones that look like this, when we've got 3 across, so we can't straight away see 4 equal groups, and lots of people were trying to work out how many, and it was difficult to see those equal groups. Sometimes with fractions, just like with shapes, it helps if you turn your head and look at it from a different perspective. Because if you turn your head with this one, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 equal groups going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, the best way to find a quarter when it's like this isn't to try and go down as you did with the other examples, but in fact, it's to turn your head, realise that there are 4 equal groups, and go across. It's also worth double checking, can I do that 4 times? Have I made 4 equal groups and coloured 1 in? Because some people yesterday did this. Done! Can I do that 4 times? 1, 2, 3. That doesn't show a quarter. That shows a third. Can I do this 4 times? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I've found a quarter. Really think about that today. Might be worth looking at your maths yesterday, especially at this example, because if you can't find a quarter, finding 3 quarters is going to be tricky. Okay, we're going to split these shapes. The first one, we're going to split into quarters. Straight down, straight across. Gosh, my board needs a little bit of a sink this morning. There we go. And the second one, we're going to split into quarters. Straight down, straight across. And then the third one, we're going to split into quarters. Straight down, straight across. To find 1 quarter, what do you need to colour in? 1 out of 4. To find 2 quarters, what do you need to colour in? 2 out of 4. And 2 quarters is the same as half. So how do we find 3 quarters? 1, 2, 3. Let's do the same thing with these squares. I'm going to keep it simple and go down and across. Works really nicely for the shape. I could go corner to corner too. Down and across. 4 equal groups. Down and across. 4 equal groups. And then in half and in half again. 4 equal groups. I'm going to colour in 1 quarter. 2 quarters, which is the same as a half, and 3 quarters. 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 4, really important. I've got some tricky ones in today to try and trick people. Watch out for my traps. Okay. One of your activities today will be to colour in to show 3 quarters. You can do it in lots of different ways. For the circles, it could look like this. Same thing for the squares. It could look like this. It's really, really useful if you can just see it and know that it shows 3 quarters. For some shapes, it's a bit tricky and you have to work out, are they in equal groups? How many are coloured in? But for the circles and the squares, definitely, it's really useful to just look at it and think, yep, I know what 3 quarters looks like. That makes your maths so much quicker and so much easier, rather than having to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So look at these, make sure you're familiar with what 3 quarters looks like. Okay. It can look different with these shapes. 3 quarters. Oh dear. Only 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. Remember, they might not always be nicely together like this one. You might have something that looks like that. This is when you might not see it straight away, and you might have to count some of the squares or some of the shapes to find out if it shows 3 quarters. It's going to be your turn soon. Get your book ready. Here we go. Your job right now in your book is to write number 1, and then there are 3 fractions here. You're going to pause the video and write each of the fractions. One of them will show 3 quarters. But I also want you to write them fractions that are shown by the other 2. Let's do this one together. I could jump straight to the one that I know, half, nice and easy. But I'm going to work left to right, so it's nice and clear in my maths book. This one here. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts altogether. 3 parts coloured in. 3 out of 4. There's our 3 quarters straight away. Excellent. This one we looked at yesterday a lot. I know that's 1 quarter. And we already talked about this one being 1 out of 2, or a half. That's the first one. In your book, you will have the number 1, and then 3/4, a small space, 1/4, a small space, and a half. You don't need to draw these shapes. Just do these, and when I reveal the answers, if you're correct, a small tick. Some people going back to, yeah, no, just a small, neat tick in your maths book, please. Marvellous. Ready for number 2. Pencils at the ready. Get those brains in gear. Here it comes. Write the number 2 and decide what these fractions are. Write 3 fractions in your book. Pause. If you've come back and you've written the 3 fractions, that is awesome. If you have not and you are waiting for me so you can copy mine, not awesome. Think for yourself and have a go right now. Come on, you can do this. I am going to go for it now. 1 out of 4. Quarter. And then half and half again. This one here, 1, 2, 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. 3/4. And then this one over here, 1 half. Or 2/4. Ready for the next one? If you are right, give yourself 3 small ticks. If you made a mistake, that's fine. Fractions are always tough. But have a look, think where you went wrong. Try not to make the same mistake again, because lots of the shapes today will be very similar. Let's keep going. Number 3. Which one shows 3/4? Write the names of all of the fractions. What's this? What's that? What's this? Pause the video. I know some people at home will be going, I'm not going to pause the video. Mr. Scullion's at school. He doesn't know that I'm just copying. He knows. He always knows. Come on then. What's this first one? This is our 3/4. That's the one we're looking for today. This one here, 2 choices. Because it's split into 4, you could write 2/4 or half. If you wrote both, I'm super impressed. That's really, really cool. I'm really glad that you've done that. If you didn't, that's fine. It clearly shows 2 out of 4. And then the last one, we've got 1/4. That was our learning yesterday. 3 small ticks if you're getting those right. Have a look at the ones that you're making a mistake on. On to the next. Pause the video, write the fraction shown. Okay, looking at the first one. 2/4 or half. This one here. 2/4 or half. And the final one, 1, 2, 3 out of 4, 3/4. Sorry about my dodgy number 3. There we go. 3/4. 3 small ticks for those, and we'll move on to the next one. If you're making a mistake, that's fine. You can change it as long as you understand it. If you're just copying Mr. Scullion, it's not going to stick in your head, and the activity later is going to be super, super tough. Okay, making it slightly more difficult now. These aren't nicely together, so you might not be able to see straight away. This one here, that one there, this one on the end. Pause the video, write the fractions. Okay, hopefully you've had a go. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit trickier, but we can still use the same skills. 2 out of 4. 2/4. And by now we're starting to remember 2/4 is the same as half. On to the next one. 1, 2, 3 out of 4. Or you might be one of those people who are very lucky and can see straight away, I know that's 3/4. 3/4. And then this one on the end, 2 out of 4, 2/4 or half. If you are writing both each time, really well done. That is what we call an equivalent fraction. Can I hear an ooh for a fancy word? Oh, yeah, equivalent fraction. That's a big thing in year 3. Number 6. Write these fractions Now, hopefully you've paused and you've written them. Hopefully you've gone, hey, can't fool me, Mr. Scullion, or something along those lines, because with this one, it shows 3 out of 4, 3/4. With this one, it shows 3 out of 4, 3/4. And with this one, it shows 3 out of 4, 3/4. Have a good look at these. They're going to change soon, but they will still look similar. 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. This is one of my favourite fractions, because when Miss Barnes and I share a pizza, I like to have 3/4 and she can have 1/4. To me, that seems about fair. 3/4 for me and 1/4 for her. Is it the same in your house with a brother or sister, maybe? That when you're sharing chocolate bars, you eat 3/4 and they're allowed 1/4? Especially if you're the oldest one. Right, we're moving on from these and we're going on to number 7. Ready for number 7? Write these fractions now. Pause the video if you need to. Okie dokie pokies. Number 1, the first one. 3 out of 4. 3/4. That's really the one that we are looking for today. This one, easy peasy from yesterday, 1/4. And this one here, this is the one where you can do 2/4 or 1/2. Excellent. Give yourself 3 small ticks if you're right. Have a look if you weren't. Told you it'd get a bit tougher. I mean, start by what you know. This one here, you can look at. Maybe you know. This one here, a bit tougher. This one here, much tougher. But my advice from earlier. If you can't see it straight away, turn your head, or turn the page, or turn the tablet, and see if that makes it easier for you. I want to know how many equal groups it is, really. And if I look at this one, how many times can I do that? Well, now I can see that it's 1 out of 4. So if we start with this easy one, this is half. This one here. Now I've got my equal groups, it's 1/4. And if we know this is 1/4, 1, 2, 3, it can really help us work out that this is 3/4. The other thing you can do with this is do the splitting so that it's in equal groups. How many equal groups have been coloured in? These are the ones that are a bit tricky, but there's plenty of time to practice. See number 9, even trickier. Think about the shapes that we've seen so far. What does this look like? What does that look like? And what does that look like? So far today, we've only looked at 3 fractions, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Label these now. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Okay, this one here, I can see the white bit and the blue bit are the same, equal parts, half. 1 out of 2 of these equal parts is coloured in. This one here, a bit trickier, going to come back to it. This one here, not sure, turn on the side. Yeah, it's in 4 equal groups and I've coloured 1 in, 1 out of 4. 1/4. That leaves this one. If we've got 1/4, 1/2, we know what this one's going to be. But if we can look at this shape, we can see 1/2 and 1/2 again to put it into quarters, 4 equal parts, and then 1, 2, 3 are coloured in. Not easy when it looks like that, but this is our 3/4. If you got that, today's activity is going to be no problem at all for you. If you made a mistake with this one, that's fine. You're just going to have to think really, really carefully when you do the independent learning for Challenge 1 and Challenge 2. Number 10, last one for label the fractions. Exactly the same 3 fractions that we've been talking about. Label this now. Pause the video. This is your turn to really have a go on your own. Try and imagine it split into split equal groups. Okay, time for the answers. This one here, I'm turning my head, I can see 1, 2, 4 equal groups, 1, 2, 3 coloured in. So this one is our 3/4. This one's nice and easy by now. We're experts. We've been doing half for ages. There's half. And this one over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 equal groups, 1 coloured in. This one is our quarter. Okay. In your activity today, very similar to the other day, we are going to be finding and circling 3/4. Find and circle 3/4. So your piece of paper looks like this. If you don't have a printer at home, that's absolutely fine. You just write number 1 and then the letter that tells you which one is 3/4. So this example that we can do together, if you have a printer and you've printed it out, you are going to circle C, or circle the whole thing. That's entirely up to you. If you don't have a printer, you write number 1, the letter C. That's the basic challenge. If you want to extend your learning, if you want to do more, then on your piece of paper you could write all of the fractions. Some people did that yesterday and I was delighted. You could write on the piece of paper, this one is half, this one is quarter, this one is 3/4. That's really, really going to help your maths, but that's a choice. You must circle 3/4. You could label the fraction. If you don't have a printer and you want to do this part, then all you need to do is this. A equals half, B equals quarter, and C equals 3/4. That is challenge 1. That is your extension. I'll come back to that in a moment. Challenge 2 looks like this. Colour 3/4 of each shape. It's really, really easy when there are 4 sections to the shape. But it does get trickier when you've got more than 4 boxes. Think carefully, and today I've even written, this is the tricky one. I'll give you one more clue for this. This is the tricky one. If you don't have a printer, don't worry. You could draw the ones that are rectilinear in your book, which lots of people have been doing, or you can just write A, colour in 3 out of 4. B, colour in, up to you. The challenge, extension 1 and extension 2, you don't have to do it. You could, if you want to challenge yourself, and I'm really pleased I've given out loads of dojo points to people who are testing themselves. Circle 3/4 of each group. I'm going to show you an example of that now. What I would do, I'm only going to do the green one. I would cut it into quarters, like this. Half, half again. But we're circling 3/4. 3/4 of each group. So we have to circle 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. I'll do that again for those people who want to do the extension. In half, making sure I've got 4 equal groups. That's really important. 1, 2, 3, 4 before I do anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm happy. I need to circle 3/4. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Okay. Over to you. You must do challenge 1. You must do challenge 2. You could have a go at the extensions. 3/4. Find, circle, colour, label, show me everything that you know how to do in maths, and send me a photo of your home learning. Bye everybody!